Dude, it is nasty in there. This is gonna be so good for you. You guys, I did it. I found a Hyundai owner that wants to do maintenance. We're about to do a little nut blast action on the intake valves. Let's go. Got a good old GDI, and check this out, dude. 170,486 miles on this Hyundai Santa Fe GDI. It's crazy. Maybe the maintenance has something to do with that. I don't know, dude. Either way, we're gonna pull this intake manifold off. I'm gonna show you how to do a nut blast on the intake valves. That's how you get them clean. The very first time I ever heard about walnut blasting intake valves was on a Mini Cooper. Had misfires, and it was back when I used to work on Mini Coopers. I don't even touch them anymore, to be honest, but I had a customer bring it into me for some misfires and for an intermittent no start. It ended up being a bad fuel pump, but he was letting me know that he had just had it over at BMW over in Seattle. I'm in Spokane, and that they had just done a walnut blast on it, and he was wondering if that had something to do with it. And I had never even heard of a walnut blast at the time for the intake valve, so I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And this was probably 10 years ago. Now it's really well known because all the GDI engines that are coming out, this is the service that you should do. I think the manual says every 50,000 miles. I'd have to double check, don't quote me on that, but we recommend them every 30,000 miles on these cars. What happens on them is, on a multi-port injection, the injectors are on top of the intake manifold right here, and they spray into the intake ports, cleaning up the intake valves on the way into the cylinder, along with the air that's coming in through the intake manifold. Well, on these GDI engines, we've got injectors that are going directly into our cylinders underneath the intake ports, so no fuel ever passes over those intake valves and they get all gummed up. They can also cause misfires. They can cause like ticking, rattling sounds, especially on acceleration. So we're gonna pull this manifold off, clean them up, be able to show you more once we get into it. First thing, already have a seal pulling off a connector, dude. Hopefully that's not a bad omen. I don't ever get to do the GDI clean on these because usually people won't do them. But you've got your labor time for your intake manifold as well as the nut blast. So it does get kind of expensive, but totally worth it, dude. I promise. Way better. Cool, cool. Come on, plugs, please. Sir. Somebody glue that on there with the... This connector's being silly. There we go. That was easy. It's really stuck for some reason. I already ripped my glove. My 10 millis due for a new O-ring. Let me show you guys something real quick. I love these universals. I use them all day, every day. Especially these little 1/4-inch ones. This 10 gets used more than any of them. It's the most wore out. But as they wear out, they get all floppy. Makes it hard to get onto your bolt. And so what you do is grab a little O-ring that fits over the end here. I think it's this size right here. And then you roll that over the drive side. This will fit on any size if it's 1/4-inch, but you roll it over the drive side and then just push it down into place like this. And now it still accentuates in all directions very well, but it'll hold whatever position. So like if you're trying to get down on a bolt and guide it onto something, it'll stay put right where you need it. Mine just broke yesterday, so they usually break like every couple of months. But since I'm using that thing all day, every day, that's not that bad. So I just realized I had my battery on my charger for like a couple of days. Charger wasn't plugged in. Battery's still dead. Dang it, dude. Everything's fine. I have another one. Dang, way faster with a new battery, dude. It's incredible. Cool. So now I can just leave this throttle body hanging here take the bolts out so I don't drop them on accident. They are kind of special bolts. And then I don't have to disconnect it. I don't have to undo those coolant lines. Especially on plastic stuff, it's a good idea to take it off in reverse order of how it gets torqued down. And what I mean by that is start on the ends and work your way into the middle as you're taking it off. Just helps make sure you don't distort it as it's coming off and bend it like if you were to take it off on just one side at a time. Move that out of our way. Sir, come with me. Got it. Probably be easier to get off from this side. Okay. And then this vacuum hose will probably have to come off too, so I probably should have just undone them from both right here. That makes way more sense, dude. Let's do that. Can you just like do better, please? Which also means I could have just left this bolt in right here. Stop, dude. This is my first try. You guys are mean on here. Got it. Okay, there's a bracket down below, it feels like. So let me lift it up real quick. I was hoping we could do it from the top without having to lift it, but that's fine, dude. Got it. Oh yeah, right there, dude. Couple little 12s, dude. It's not a big deal. Dude. I don't know if you guys notice me saying dude a lot. I don't talk like that all day, every day normally, unless I'm making videos for you. So you better appreciate it, dude. Come with me, please. Thank you. All right, and while I'm down here, I'll just try to pick up on it and make sure. Yep. That's all good. See if there's anything underneath. Looks like we'll need to pull this, either that whole bracket off or just undo those wires from that bracket. We'll do that from the top. That's fine. Okay, we can take our PCV hose off here, and we are putting a new PCV valve in this while we're doing the Walnut blast, so it's perfect. I'm probably pulling on a wire. Yeah. Don't copy me, but I'm gonna just bend this out of the way a little bit. Everything's fine. Say bad things if you want. I honestly don't care. Sir? Oh, there's another 10 milli that you can't see right behind this oil pressure sensor wire. Everything's fine. We can get it, dude. Easy, bro. Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. We got it. Everything's good. Okay. A little gentle persuasion. Dude, it is nasty in there. This is gonna be so good for you. There we go. Everything's fine, dude. There's just binding up on this insulator for the fuel injectors. We got to put that back on there. You definitely don't want to leave that off. So let's set that out here. All right, well, here's our before, dude. Look how gummed up those get. That's awesome. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this all up first with a vacuum, get all the dirt sucked out of there. All right, and now that we got that intake off there, we can get a lot better picture. These are our fuel injectors right here. See how those are going in underneath the intake valves? It's supposed to help with fuel mileage, be more efficient and whatever, but I think that they should have just stuck with multi-port injection and had the fuel injectors clean the intake on the way, because look at those, dude. They're nasty. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll each cylinder up to where the intake valves are closed on that particular cylinder. Looks like our number 2 is open a little bit. Number 3 looks closed. Number 4 looks closed. So I'm going to go ahead and just start on number 4 since it's already closed, and then we'll work our way over. One of the first things you can do is just go ahead and get in there with a pick and start breaking some of that stuff up and scraping it out of there. And then it just makes the sand blasting, or the walnut blasting, I should say, go a lot quicker if you can get a lot of the chunks off first. I did pick off some of it. Honestly, it wasn't really coming off of there, so now I'm just going to put some brake cleaner down these holes. Let that soak for just a minute. That's another good way to make sure that your valves are actually closed, because obviously if the brake cleaner is not just leaking out, then you've got a closed valve. So we'll let that soak for just a minute to help break up some of the gunk off of there. Then I'm just gonna blow out the chunks that are in there so far, kind of dry it out a little bit, put a rag over the hole, cover it up, so it doesn't blast you in the eyeballs. Beautiful. Stuff them, dude. Perfect. Best day ever. All right, now we need to find the little fitting we have that matches that port hole. That one doesn't fit as good, so it's gonna be this guy. And I just realized I need a fitting for this. Perfect. Nice. Just broke it right away. It's the best. I love it. All right, I think we're all set up to go now. I had to take a pause, get some lunch, build a little adapter for this thing. I don't know if you guys watched me, but I broke it. This is my first time using this machine. I just got this one, got it all set up. And I was gonna switch out the air fitting on it, but the air fitting has this little hose attached to the bottom of it. It's like a special air fitting. So I ended up having to make an adapter real quick. No biggie, everything's fine. I like to do this. So basically what we need to do is create a seal for the vacuum around this intake port, just like that. And then we're gonna take our wand in. As I pull this trigger, it's gonna pull the media up the hose from the tank inside there and blast the inside of this intake port. And then the shop vac will go ahead and suck up all the media. I do like 5-second little bursts. And then let it suck up for a few seconds. Okay, see how that's looking? And as you can see, that's cleaned up a good amount of it. Still got a little ways to go, not quite there yet. So looking a hell of a lot better. We still got some buildup on here, a little bit of gummy buildup. What I'm gonna do real quick is, now that we got most of the big chunks off, I'm gonna spray some power foam down in here and let that one soak while I do this next one. This one's closed also. We can confirm that by putting a little bit of brake cleaner in and making sure it doesn't leak down. Cool, and that's pulling up and staying. So I'm gonna first let that sit with a little bit of brake cleaner in there. I'm gonna take this next cylinder, and I like this GM top end cleaner. It foams up out of the aerosol can, and so I'm gonna let this foam just dissolve this layer of like gummy buildup. It's getting most of the chunks off with the sandblast media. Now this will help dissolve the rest of that. Just let that foam up in there. I'm literally gonna fill it up. Let those sit for just a minute. I'm gonna change out this PCV valve real quick while I'm letting those soak.
Buggy to put the towel rack out here.
If you love it, lube it. Get a little bit of lube on this O-ring here. The O-ring seals down inside the bore here, so it's basically just like, I mean, you could probably screw it all the way down with your fingers just about, if you have strong fingers. I don't, dude. But it's just a real gentle, this socket's not really fitting on there very good. I need a 22. I don't know if I have a 22. don't think I have a deep 22. This is a 7/8, so it kind of fits on there, but not quite. Good enough to get it tight enough. Cool, that's good. Okay, this one. I've kind of seen something similar where guys will set up like a drill bit with some zip ties on it, and that works too. You can do it that way. 2 liter, suck all that gunk out of there. All right, well, we'll go ahead and continue on with some blastage. What I'm going to try on these next ports is I'm going to scrape off these edges with a scraper, because what's taking most of the time is getting around all those edges. I'm just gently go around the whole bore with the foam in there and get all this junk out of there. Alright, so check this out. It ain't gonna get a whole lot cleaner than that. We got all the chunks of carbon out of there, so that's rad, dude. And I don't know if you guys can get a little close up here. Hopefully that's in camera good. But now what I'm gonna do, now that we got all the chunks out of there, I'm gonna go ahead and just let that foam up while I'm doing this next port one more time. And then we'll move on to this guy. Alright, so check out the before and after. We've got cylinders 3 and 4 all nice and cleaned up. Number 1 and 2 looking real terrible. So what I'm going to do next is grab a ranch. My son used to call them ranches when he was little. This one right here, 22 millimeter. And we're just going to turn this crank bolt over until we get closed valves on both of these cylinders. Number 1's coming up now. 2 is actually closed right now. I think I can do both of those at the same time though. I think 1 and 2 will close at the same time if I'm remembering right. I believe they're both closed. Shoot a little bit of brake cleaner in there and just make sure it doesn't leak down past the valves. Make sure we got a seal. That one's holding. Those are holding. Oh, number 1's not. Let's turn it over a little more. That one just might not be sealing up just because of the carbon buildup. I can see just little tiny air bubbles coming out. And actually it just stopped, so what I was doing is I was pulling the motor over a little bit more and it was pushing air bubbles up. And that's because we're on the compression stroke on TDC on number 1, but as you can see, those valves are leaking a little bit, and that's why we're cleaning these out. You can see this second intake valve right here. That one stayed sealed up, even though it bubbled up a little bit, but that one right there lost all the brake cleaner. So that's exactly why we're doing this, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and hit these with some foam. And I'm gonna do a little better job scraping these ones out before I walnut blast them. And we should be able to get these two done a lot quicker than the first ones. Start on all these edges. And this is all the gunk that we're getting out of there. Just gonna scrape it out and get it out with a rag. Big old chunks coming off, dude. Chunky, bro. Just don't jam your tool down into that valve. I mean, you have to try pretty hard to bend them, but gotta be careful. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plug these ports off. We got open valves on number 3 right here. Number 4 is closed, so that wouldn't be a big deal. But since they're already nice and clean, just gonna go ahead and block these ports off with some rags. Watch your eyeballs. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna hit this with some foam and let it soak while I do this other one. Way better. Gonna go along all the edges again with this flat blade, get all the stuff off the port walls. It's coming off in layers, so we got a bunch to get out here still. And our first intake valve's not leaking down anymore, so that's a good improvement already. Okay, then we'll use the pick to do the top of the valves. Good to go. Make sure we don't leave any messes. Watch your eyeballs. Okay. Gucci, dude. All right, now the first thing I want to do before I tighten that intake down is go underneath, get that bracket tightened back down on there. First, I'm going to get these bolts started just so I don't have any issues with it lining up. Little trick of the trade for you. You need to hold a bolt in your socket. Put a little piece of paper down in there along one side, put the bolt in, and it'll hold in there. That way we can fish that down through this hole here. Braille it into place. Just gonna have to do it by feel. It's in there, dude. Beautiful. Easy. All right, let me go down below. I gotta drain the oil on this. Switch out the oil drain plug, gasket, and then I'll get the 2 bracket bolts while I'm under there. All right, and I gotta stop the video because I got somebody here to sell me that blue F-150. The one we played Does It Have Oil on? The hole in the valve cover. He wants to sell it to me for 800 bucks. I'm gonna do it. All right, and I was just pulling this drain plug. We're gonna go ahead and just change the oil, even though it was pretty new looking. It was a little overfilled. The drain plug was leaking. And I was gonna just go ahead and put a new drain plug on it and save the oil, but I ain't got time for that, dude. So we'll get these two lower bracket bolts in here. Okay. Way better, dude. There we go. Other thing I need to do while I'm down here is drain this. We're doing a tranny service on it at the same time. The way I like to do them is drain my old transmission fluid into a bucket and then fill it up at the same exact amount and then do a level check at the end after I've gone on a final test drive and all that. I'll usually do 2 or 3 drain and fills. Okay. That way I don't have to mess around with trying to get it to the exact right level before I go drive it in between the drain and fills. Now, one thing Hyundai says is there's a vent at the top that you can fill through, but what I like to do instead of all that nonsense is fill it through this plug right here. That's the way that Jeep, that uses this same setup, says to do their service on it. So that's how I started doing them, and I like that way better. Go ahead and let that drain down. See if I have any tranny fluid in my filler. Cadence has it, of course. Empty. Why wouldn't it be? Alright, so we've got almost exactly 9 liters in our container. We drained out 4 liters. I'm going to throw a new washer on this, the last drain and fill that I do. I'm going to do 2 or 3 drain and fills on it with drives in between. Alright, so now I'm going to fill it back up with exactly 4 liters because that's how much came out. That's what I was expecting, so it was full. I'm going to go right in through that hole there. Alright, there's 4 liters. Yep. Perfect. Let's get some oil in it. Let's get the intake back on. We'll be good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this off till the very end because I gotta have it off for the drain and fills. Perfect. We got oil, we got tranny fluid. Go ahead and start putting stuff back together. I'm gonna torque this intake manifold first before anything else. Right. Torque spec 13.7 to 17.4 foot-pounds. Okay, cool. Beautiful. Oh, my piece of paper came back. Nice, dude. Sir. Dude. Stop, bro. Thank you. I had somebody ask me if extensions affect torque, and it's yes and no. The reason I say that is because a straight extension like this does not affect, like if you're torquing a bolt down. As long as you're on the same axis as your torque wrench, then it's going to torque down to the same rating as what it would if you were right on the socket. Now, what an extension will affect is if you're using it on an impact, like for breakaway, you won't be able to get the same breakaway torque with an extension. And then also, like torque sticks, they're meant to hit a certain torque with an impact wrench. But just a regular straight extension on a torque wrench does not affect torque. What's up, dude?
Want the brake?
Since we didn't change the filter, we can go ahead and just check our oil level now and see where we're at. Perfect. I like it. Somebody took this lower hose off of here. That was me. Everything's fine. All good. See, dude? It's not a big deal. Dude, loud vehicles just annoy the shit out of me now. I'm definitely getting old. I just get mad every time. Clamp it. Right in the groove. Perfect. It's kind of tricky to start, not gonna lie. Everything's fine. Beautiful. Okay. This one that was like really stuck. Went back on, no problem. Yep. And you want to go back and forth, crisscross pattern. Yep. Perfect. Yep. Uh-huh. Perfect. Well, discount double check. Got it, 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 got it. Got it. PCV valves in. Got that. Those 3 connectors. Got it. Alright. Good to go, dude. I need to go drive this real quick. And I'm going to do a couple more drain and fills on the transmission, just like I just showed you. I'm going to do a final level check on it, but I'm not going to film anything else because I got to get this thing done and out of here. And we're running out of daylight, dude. See you guys.